Headshot. Yeah, come on. Yeah, come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on. Good. Oh. Borderlands, a pre-sequel. Why do you do this to me? You're a terrible co-op partner, Billy. Stupid psycho class is the only reason I lost. You have failed me for the last time. Oh, nice seeing you here again, sir. Would you like to play a game? Well, looks like I've got something to take care of on my side, so on your side, why don't you enjoy tonight's story? It's a lovely story that I like to call Stop. Stop. I said stop. That's you, yes. Listener, I want you to stop. I want you to stop moving. I want you to stop breathing. See how long you can hold your breath. Are you doing it? Are you holding your breath? Can you feel the nagging feeling calling on you to open your mouth and inhale? Can you resist it? Do you see how unnatural it is? Breathing is what keeps you inside this world. It is something your body does without thought, without command. You have to tell yourself not to do it. Almost every other action occurs at your command. Breathing occurs at the lack of your command. You have to force yourself to stop doing it. And it gets more and more difficult to do. Your entire body screams at you to open your mouth and inhale. Your own mind reminds you again and again that you must breathe. It pulls you like gravity down again and again until you can't think of anything else, can't do anything else, until you take a breath. Your body and your own mind wants you to. It wants you to suck in the air that keeps you where your mind and body wants you to be, where you think you should be. Can you resist them? What if they're wrong? That's what it feels like. Feel an itch? Don't scratch it. It's an odd thing, isn't it? Here is a function of your body to tell you where there is something wrong. He'll warn you when something is happening to your skin. It will tell you when there are insects crawling all over you, climbing over your flesh, into your ears and mouth and burrowing into your skin. It will tell you when they lay eggs inside of you, or when their young form a boil which will burst forth with maggots climbing out to feast on your flesh. It will tell you when your skin is infested with holes and bumps forming over your body as you rot alive. And yet it is still so easily deceived. Most of the time it's nothing. Can you be certain that it'll work when you need it? To give you the warning you need. What if your skin is numb? What if the insect infests you so that you can't feel it? What if your eyes then deceive you as part of the insect's poison, so that you can't see it, and it will continue inside of you? What if it's happening right now? Feel the itch yet? Such a fickle thing, isn't it? All I have to do is mention it, and chances are you feel it. It's in your mind now. I bet it's nagging at you now, demanding your attention, though you know there is nothing there. It is almost impossible to resist its call, even if you know it is almost guaranteed that there is nothing. That the odds against it being an insect in your skin are 1,000 to 1, 1,000,000 to 1, or 1,000,000,000 to 1. Your body still demands you to do it to be sure. It's always better to be sure. That's what it feels like. Can you resist it? If not, I can't blame you. Then again, it means you can't blame me for what I did either. Still holding your breath? Did you manage to resist the urge for that long? If you didn't, I can't blame you. You gave in to the constant nagging feeling that you must do something. But if that's so, And you can't blame me for what I did either, or for what they said I did. If you're still holding your breath, let me ask you this. Are you conscious? Are you sure? If you were unconscious, would you know it? You may very well have passed out from a lack of air. Your mind would shut you down. But it wouldn't let you know you've shut down. It would tell you that you were awake. It would make you dream, show you images, and play you sounds that you can't tell from reality. Drowning men think that they're on land. Unconscious boxers think they're still fighting. Men spend years in comas, their mind telling them that they're in another place, in another time. And they have no way to tell the difference. The same goes for madmen, or what we so arrogantly call madmen. They see the world in a completely different way, but have no idea that they do. To them, reality is simply different, and we are the ones who are wrong. Nothing can tell them otherwise. Even if you can trick them into having moments of clarity with pills or by talking to them, they will simply dismiss it as something fooling them. Reality is their dream. Dreams are their reality. So let me ask again, are you conscious? If you're certain the answer is yes, then let me ask you something else. Are you a god? An all-knowing being capable of being certain of the entire universe? Or are you a liar? If you're a liar, who are you lying to? Me? Or yourself? Are you alive? Same question as before. You may breathe now, if you haven't already. If you're listening to this, it means that it exists in whichever world your mind tells you that you're in. If you suffocate your mind, this may no longer be true. Before it happened, I had a room to myself in an old apartment building. Everything was perfect. The walls were painted in a solid dark blue color. There was one window kept constantly shut and with the blinds closed. There were no paintings on the walls. They would only clutter it. To the immediate right of the door was a perfectly clean small fridge, sink, and stove that served as my kitchen. All the food was arrayed in perfect lines in their proper place, so I always knew where they were. To the immediate right of the door was a perfectly straight line of shoes in front of a closet where my clothes were hung in perfectly proper order. There was a narrow bed in the far left corner, always properly made. There was a nightstand with a dim lamp beside it, the only light I needed. In the right corner was a door that led to a simple, functional bathroom. Everything was perfectly organized, perfectly placed, and perfectly straight in its right place. It was everything I needed. Every night I would make sure it was perfect. I'd check the fridge, seeing everything in its proper place. I'd touch everything inside to see if I could feel them. Then I'd close my eyes and do the same in case my eyes were lying and my hands believed them. I'd check my clothes and my shoes lined up perfectly in the closet. Again, I'd see them, then touch them, then repeat the process with my eyes closed. If I could ensure they were always in the exact right place, in the perfect straight lines each time, I could be certain they were there. I'd check everything the same way. My TV stand, my bathroom, my bed, the lock on my door must always be locked and the window must always be shut so that nothing could come in to disturb the perfection of my room. I'd finish by going around the room, tapping on all the walls. Tap, tap, tap. I'd make sure that my hands and ears always agreed with my eyes. My hands must always stop where my eyes said the wall was. My ears must always hear the sound. Then I'd do the same thing again with my eyes closed. I'd turn off the light and turn it on again, lest it lit up a different room than the one I was in before. I'd check everything again, and if they were all the same, I could sleep. After this, I couldn't touch anything but the bed. If I turned on the light, it may create a different room, then I'd have to check it again. If I knocked something over, it may not land where it was supposed to. I would have to check to see if that was where my eyes told me it was. If I kept going, I could never stop. There were times when I would spend days on end going over everything again and again and again and again and again. Each time something new would happen, something would change, and I'd have to start all over again. Some people told me I had a problem. They took me to see a doctor, and he tried to get me to stop. But how could I? It was like breathing. I didn't do it because I wanted to. I did it because I had to. If I didn't think of it, my body would do it on its own. I'd have to order it not to. If I tried to order it to stop, then the feeling would grow inside until I simply had to do it. Nothing else could get done. I couldn't eat, I couldn't sleep, I couldn't even breathe unless I knew that the room was real. Or it was like an itch. It was nagging at me, telling me something was wrong. I may be almost certain that the room was there, but could I ever be completely certain? Even if it was 1,000,000,000 to 1 that the room existed, did it not make sense to check just one more time to make it 1,000,001 to 1? Does not the horror of having been deceived by your own senses outweigh the moments it takes to tap on the wall? So you see, I had no choice but to continue doing it. As you now have no choice but to breathe, or to feel an itch. If I could check, then I could be that much more sure that everything was there and I could rest. Everything was perfect. Everything was in its right place. But then it came in. It had to come to wreck my perfect existence. It began with a noise. It came down the hall one day to the room beside mine. It let out ceaseless, high-pitched, whining sounds. It sounded like a broken trumpet. Some fool still tried to play, thinking he was making music. The sound was awful. Grating, burning into my ears and wrecking my concentration. How could I properly survey my room with that unending drone? It was disgusting. It was a massive, soft thing that moved slowly and in swaying fashion. It had brown moss-like masses of hair growing around its head that hung down its body in a mangled mess. It was covered with spots and constantly stunk of sweat. What's more is that it mocked me. It disagreed with my ways and tried to change my reality when I wasn't looking. It would come into my room to move things. It would take them out of order. It would put them in the wrong place. It claimed that it didn't touch them, but I knew it was lying. It would laugh in that same high-pitched, whining voice, laugh at my efforts to restore the room as it should be, as it must be. Then it would change them again, and laugh at me again, as if I was in the wrong, as if I was the one who was a fool. It didn't understand what I was doing, that I had to check everything to be sure, and what it didn't understand, it hated. I would try to force it out, but it was bigger than me, and I couldn't budge it. Finally, it would leave. and I would lock the door, checking again and again to ensure that it was locked. No fewer than 50 times would I turn that lock to make sure that that thing wouldn't come in again. But somehow it always did. But the horror didn't stop there. Even when it was outside my room, I could still influence it. I tried to sleep. I checked all the things in my room, all the clothes, all the food, all the furniture, the lock, the window, my bed, all the walls, and everything else, and went to sleep. But then it started again with its noise. The same droning, whining, irritating sound that was constantly emitted from it came into my room. That noise it used to mock me, to laugh at me, as it ruined everything I did. It woke me up, and I knew that it had changed something. But what was more was that it was too close. I knew how big my room was. I knew how big its room was. There was no way that the sound could be coming from where I heard it. Something was wrong. I checked everything again, going over everything twice, 4 times, 5 times. Everything was there, and I slept again. Then the sound came again. I checked over 12 times. Everything was there. And I slept. Again it came, and again I checked everything 30 times, and something changed. I went around the room, tapping the walls. Tap, tap, tap. I hit every wall where I should have, when my eyes told me they were. Then to check again, I closed my eyes and reached forward. And hit nothing. My hand went straight through where the wall should have been, where my eyes had told me it was. I opened my eyes, reaching out again, and hit the wall. I closed them, reached out, and hit nothing. I stood staring for what seemed like hours. I tried to understand what had just happened. In 100 million trials, never had my eyes and my hands disagreed with each other. But now, on the 100 millionth trial, they were wrong. Even a 1 in a million chance would occur eventually, and I had hit that number. The wall was there and it wasn't. Eyes open, it was there. Eyes closed, it wasn't. But the sound. The sound was right behind the wall when my eyes were open. It was too close. It didn't make sense with what my eyes told me. When my eyes were closed, the wall wasn't there. The sound made sense. Perhaps this was how it entered my room. So the sound existed. But it was changing my reality. It was interfering with my room and forced me to check everything again and again and again and again. I closed my eyes and reached through the wall. Or more, I reached through where I had once thought the wall to be. I found the source of the noise behind where the wall used to be, if it had ever existed. I had found it, the thing that produced the relentless, irritating sound that forced me to check everything again and again, that mocked my efforts. I had to stop the noise. I couldn't not stop it. Even if I resisted, my body kept commanding that I do so, and I gave in, like you gave in the need to breathe or to itch. I gave in to the need to stop the noise. I grabbed hold of the source of the noise. It was soft, and I realized I could easily break it, stop it from producing that irritating whine. I squeezed it, trying to shut it off. It struggled against me, but it was futile. Its reality wasn't my reality. I had control over my own world. In my reality, I was all-powerful. It could not resist me. I squeezed with all my might. I squeezed and squeezed until I heard a crack. And soon, The noise stopped and left me in peace. I backed away and I opened my eyes, restoring the wall to where it was before. I went to sleep, finally able to rest safely, knowing the truth of my existence. This is when the other world ceased to be. That fake world, that lie that my eyes told me was no longer there. I no longer needed to check everything, to tap things to see if they were real. I knew that they weren't. I had found the truth. The old world stopped. The old time stopped. And now that the old world is gone, now that it has stopped, now because its time no longer affected me, I am in the real world. I am no longer deceived. Now I am out of my room. Now I am gone. Now I am in the real world. Now I do as I please. Change what I want. And do not have to worry over the reality of my own existence. Every so often, I'm forced out of my world. People force me back to then, back to the old time, to the old fake world. They give me pills which deceive my senses. They talk to me and tell me things that are lies. And then I'm in their world again, with their time, their lies. A fake world where I once lived in my own room. Then in a room they put me in with padded walls and chains, in that time where I was called a madman, a criminal. But how could I be a criminal? I never really existed anyway. It was probably a figment of my imagination that I chose to end. And when they would force me into that world, I would be deceived only for a moment. And all I would need to do is shut my eyes and reach toward the wall. When I feel nothing, I knew for certain the wall is not there. I could return to my own reality. Here, I know that the world they want me to be in does not exist. They are insane and forced me to take pills, which made me insane as well. The pills deceived my eyes for a moment. But I'm too strong for them. It's no matter. The last time they forced me into that fake world, I ended their ability to do so. They tried to make me eat their own food, which was filled with the same poisons and diseases that was tricking my senses into seeing this fake world. When they weren't looking, I took a knife. I jammed it into my eyes, those lying orbs that tried to deceive me into thinking that my world was fake and theirs was real. I took the hot iron that they used to cook their fake foods and shoved it into my ears so that I could no longer hear their lies. They tried to stop me, but I was too powerful. They lived in their world and in their time, and I live in mine. And now I no longer have to worry about that world. I live only in my own. My eyes can no longer deceive me, my ears can no longer hear lies. They are there to deceive me, but I know better. I know what's real and what is not. I know what is true. I know what is real. And my world is real.